And we're back. We are back with another video this week. Hey, look, they broke me. The system, YouTube, the overlords, they have broken me. So I'm going to try a little algorithm-friendly content this week. See how it goes. Still going to be useful. I think you guys are still going to get some valuable information out of it. We're going to be talking about what makes the ideal police applicant today, in this day and age. All right, without further ado, let's get into it. And we are back. It's your favorite host, me, Xavier, full-time cop, part-time real estate investor, part-time PhD student, part-time whatever else title you want to assign to my name. And today we are going to be definitely going over what it is and what are the traits of the ideal police applicant in 2021 or in just modern day times. Now look, some of these points, you might want to argue them. You might feel the need to express your opinion on it. And I tell you that if you don't meet a lot of these qualifications and you're still trying to express your opinion, you're probably not going to get hired anyway. Okay, these are points and bullets that I've found, one, throughout my own experience going through the police applicant process, two, seeing people who had or didn't have these traits while I was in the academy, and then three, with my going on 4 years of adjunct instructing at the police academy myself, seeing people with or without these traits not being able to make it through the full hiring process, which includes making it through the academy. Okay? So, before you get all butthurt, bent out of shape about it, take a listen, see where you fall with these, see how many of these you have, see how many of these you don't, and just know that, guess what? Whether you disagree or not, everything I'm saying is only going to make you better. It's going to make you a better applicant, which is going to make you a better cadet, which is overall going to make you a better officer, which is overall going to make the community better. And that's all it's really about anyway. So stuff your feelings. Let's get to number one. So, the number one thing, well, it's not really the number one thing as far as it's the ultimate thing, but I think the first thing on this list that we're going to talk about is age. I think that the most successful age for someone to enter into law enforcement is somewhere between your mid-20s and your mid-30s. Okay, so somewhere about like 24 to like 35, 36. I think that's the ideal range. Now, of course, are there some standouts who are younger? There's some standouts who are older. Absolutely. But we're talking about a good, healthy general range. And honestly, I feel that most police departments are looking for cadets in this range. Why? Well, you're of the right age to where they're going to get a good longevity out of you, right? You are a tool to be used in the cog of the government. And they want to get their money worth out of that horse. That's you. You're the horse. And the badge is the saddle. Okay? But more importantly, I think the biggest thing is mentality. You know, by your mid-20s to mid-30s, hopefully, you've had some life experiences. You've made some mistakes. You've gone to school. You've worked. You've had disagreements. You've had relationships. You've had life experiences. Life has picked you up, dropped you, let you free fall, and then blasted you right in the nuts, right? So you're able to take those experiences, hopefully, through your maturity, and use that on scene in different situations when you're dealing with people, should you be selected to become a law enforcement officer. Look, man, I hear the young 20-somethings, the 18, 19, 20-year-olds saying it now. Look, I have seen 18, 19, 20-year-olds, 21-year-olds, 22-year-olds make it through the whole application process just fine because they meet a lot of these other criteria that I'm about to go over, and then turn around and get kicked out of the academy because of maturity issues, okay? Because of discipline issues. Okay, look, if you are still so young that you need to celebrate every little minor accomplishment in your life with going out to the club, going out to the bar, getting pissy drunk, you're probably not ready to be a law enforcement officer yet. Listen, I have seen it. I have seen cadets who have a lot of the other points that I'm going to touch on not only get kicked out, but get arrested while they are in the academy because they chose to go home and celebrate that they passed a really hard test by getting crazy drunk, okay? And then decided to go storm around the city that they're in and get arrested for public intoxication. That's some kid stuff, man. That's some kid stuff. So that's number one. Number two, remember, this is not an order of importance or like severity. It's just the order in which I'm presenting the information to you. But I think the number two thing that makes an ideal police candidate in today's times is being bilingual. And honestly, I don't care what you're bilingual in. Spanish, of course, but when you speak Mandarin, Creole, French, Italian, you name it, Russian, whatever. Being bilingual is going to make you a hot candidate. You are going to get a little sticker star next to your name. Guaranteed. Look, I've seen it. I look at the staffing paperwork. I look at the staffing sheets for our department, breakdown by sectors. And people who are bilingual are so special and so coveted that they get little special designators and colors to their names, and they are spread out throughout the city strategically. So, if you want to increase your chances, if you want to increase the attractiveness of your application, all right, pick up another language. If you already have one, fantastic. Make sure you list it down on one of your little special skills in your application. Number three, not in order of importance, but this one's actually pretty important. If you are thinking about becoming a cop in 2021, or for the foreseeable future, you're going to want to be educated. You are going to want a formal education. I know we're hurting right now because we're public enemy number one. And so a lot of departments, especially the larger ones, are starting to reduce their standards, their entry standards. But make no mistake, while they may be reducing their entry standards, academies are still just as tough, if not more rigorous. My academy for my department, we are currently undergoing some type of evaluation visit, and it's going to become more stringent. You're going to be tasked with knowing more information, more policy, more penal code, more tactics, more you're going to be tasked with knowing more in this profession as the years go on. So if you want to increase your chances of getting hired, I highly suggest that you get an education. High school diploma is meh. Associate's degree is meh. Bachelor's degree is better. Master's degree is better. These things are going to make your application stand out. And in some instances, you actually get more preference points on your test, or when they're trying to organize, who are the top candidates. Oftentimes, having an education can put you ahead in terms of points. So, the fourth thing, not in order of importance. I keep saying that because I just feel like someone's going to miss that point. But the fourth thing, and this isn't a requirement, I'm just saying it helps. Remember, none of these are requirements. These are just things that if you possess the majority of these things, or all of these things, I can all but guarantee you, unless you don't know how to interview or get ridiculously nervous, you are all but a shoe-in at any police department. So the fourth thing is being a veteran, serving your country. Some of you guys might not like to hear that, but guess what? Going to the military, I did it, provides you with a lot of the skills and experience that can translate over into law enforcement. There's a reason why, in so many instances, if you have veterans, you're getting 10 preference points. There's a reason why so many police departments are so eager to pick up veterans. And not just combat veterans. I was in IT in the Navy, okay? And they were still more than happy to pick me up. It's just something about the military. It just kind of buffs you out, man. It buffs out those imperfections. It instills discipline. It instills hard work. It instills an even temperament. You get used to performing under pressure. You get used to being placed in high stakes environments, dangerous environments, and keeping a cool head. You get used to leading. You get used to communicating and delegating. All of these types of experiences you get in the military. And I guarantee you that if you're coming out as a vet, again, barring that you just have no idea how to talk in an oral board interview, or you're psychotic and you can't pass your psychological, you are all but a shoo-in to just about any police department that you choose. Number five thing that if you possess, you'll be on the track to being an ideal candidate for just about any police department that you want, is being physically fit. That's right. I am talking to you butterballs out there who have this crazy notion that you can be ridiculously, some would say grossly overweight, and you're going to get picked up by a police department. Here's the thing. Let me clarify that statement, because I've seen grossly overweight people make it all the way to the police academy. Let me tell you something that I haven't seen. And this is coming from my experience as an adjunct instructor. I have not seen grossly overweight people graduate from the police academy. It's not going to happen. You're going to get exposed at some point in the police process. At some point, you might have all the other intangibles. You might be bilingual. You might be a vet. You might have a master's degree. You might be X, Y, and Z, and you are just a chug-a-lug. Just a chug-a-lug. Just deep fried piece of butter. You're not going to make it through the academy. The academy is designed to stress you and test you. But guess what? You're already doing that to yourself on a daily basis by being grossly overweight. Also, it's a real bad look. Also, it's my personal opinion that fatter cops tend to make worse decisions out on the street in times of stress, because you know you're a little fat ass. And that if you get on your back, you're going to be like one of those turtles. So, my personal opinion, from my experience being the DT instructor, teaching defensive tactics, use of force, that the fatter and more out of shape you are, the more you are inclined to use tools on your tool belt, like a taser or a gun, because you know your physical fitness isn't up to par. So, run, do push-ups, do sit-ups. Prepare yourself physically so that is the least of your worries. The academy is going to be stressful enough without you having to worry about getting in shape. Also, just long-term for your career, you want to be healthy. Healthier, in-shape cops perform better, respond better, and have longer, more fruitful careers. And also, you get to live to enjoy your retirement. It all ties in together. Be fit, don't be fat. Okay. We're done with that. Oh, okay. Number 6. This is a personal pet peeve of mine, so I'm going to try not to harp on it too much. But it is this adjunct DT instructor's humble opinion that you should have some familiarity, some level of understanding, some time spent training in martial arts. And I'm not talking about Taekwondo. And I'm not talking about karate. And we're not going to have those discussions either about whether or not they're legitimate. I am talking about fundamental, effective martial arts. Your Muay Thai, your boxing, your wrestling, your jiu-jitsu, your judos. You need to train in some martial arts, not only before you come into the academy, but while you're in the academy, and damn sure after you get out. It is important. Look, when you throw on that uniform, when you throw on that badge, yeah, you know what? The vast majority of people are going to show you, their respect do for that. But there's some people who are going to look at you. They're going to see whether or not they're going to make a judgment call based on the way you carry yourself, your eyes, your set, your physical fitness, on whether or not they're going to try you. And try you can be anything from talking smack to your face, putting hands on you, trying to run away from you, or if you're really unfortunate, trying to take your life. In all those situations, you're going to be tasked with responding. And now look, there's so many cops out there be like, oh, I would just go to this tool here on my belt, this here tool on my belt, this. Listen, oh, I'm always going to be with backup. Listen, longest fight I've ever had. I've been training since I was a little kid. Little kid. Longest fight I ever had on the job was almost 5 minutes. I showed up with somebody. Both guys ran opposite directions. My partner went one way. I went the other. My guy was ridiculously high on PCP, and he was very adamant about getting away. And it took almost 5 minutes for other responding units to show up. And guess what? That was the longest, hardest fight of my whole career. That was the first time I actually had to hit somebody. Hits weren't effective. He was high on PCP. He was in a whole nother dimension. But I've been training so long that I was able to stay on top, stay in control, hop on the radio, tell people where I was at, while handling this dude who had Super Saiyan strength on PCP. Question is that going to be you? Are you going to be trained enough to be able to handle yourself in a solo situation against someone who's either extremely adamant about getting away or extremely adamant about hurting you or hurting someone else? And this is something that's not going to necessarily show up on your application. Like, you can put on your application like, oh, I'm a blue belt in jiu-jitsu, I'm a purple belt in jiu-jitsu, I'm a black belt in this. But where it is going to show up, it's going to show up in the academy, okay? And it's going to show up on the streets when you're getting into these use of force issues. I'm not even going to touch on the fact that I believe personally, it's my own personal opinion, that people who are trained in effective martial arts actually respond to use of force situations better than those who aren't. They are less likely to use lethal force, less likely to use tasers and things of that nature because they are confident in their hand-to-hand abilities. That's my personal opinion. We're not going to touch on that. That could be another video. All right. Going into number 7. Kind of ties in with number 6 being martially trained, but number 7 is having a proficiency with firearms. There is one thing I've always preached. I preach it in my Graduating with Honors book. You don't want the academy as much as possible. You want to limit it as much as possible, but you don't want the academy to be the first time that you are doing something, because you are going to be at such a disadvantage, and you're going to be like just behind the curve. You're going to be behind the curve on if it's the first time. Look, you are getting into profession. You are interested in getting into a profession where no matter what call you go on, from domestic violence strangulation to a stalled vehicle, there is always going to be at least one gun on that scene, and it is yours. And that's at a minimum. Okay, you are literally going to be tasked with carrying a gun around on your hip for your job. You are going to want to have at least some basic understanding. Go take a license to carry course and just get a basic fundamental understanding of, your pistol, of a shotgun, of a rifle. Okay. You don't want the academy to be the first time that you're touching this thing. You're hearing it go bang, you're feeling the recoil, you're doing a reload drill. You want to understand what these things are so that you can perform at a high level and you don't get kicked out. Listen, I see people have to get sent to remedial. I see people drop because they didn't know that they were going to be expected to shoot a firearm in the police academy. You probably want to find that out before you take all the time, money, and energy to put yourself through the police process. Get some firearms proficiency. And last but not least, number 8. And it's kind of a twofer. You want to have a stable work history, and you want to have, stable finances. You don't want to have had a billion different jobs. That was me. Luckily, I made it through that because I possessed a lot of other things. I definitely had a ton of jobs. And you don't want to have a crazy financial history. Both of these things can be huge red flags and even bar you from certain agencies, right? You don't want to owe a ton of debts, or you don't want to have a bunch of accounts in collections, okay? You don't want to be behind on a bunch of payments. You don't want to have super bad rental history. Look, they look at all of this. It goes into you. There's a lot of things they look at, but they want to make sure that you're not going to take bribes, you're not going to steal money, that you're not going to be inclined to do this because you're so hard on for money. And the stability of your job just shows, are you leaving these places correctly? Make sure you always give your 2-week notice. Things like that. Listen, I had to sit there and do some explaining in my oral board interview why I had so many jobs and why I didn't do 2-week notice. So avoid all that. Do your 2-week notice. Stay places. Get, if it sucks, do at least 12 months and pay your bills. Do that. So that's it. Those 8 things. If you have all of those 8 things in your toolbox, if you possess those things, or just the majority of those things, 6 or 7 of those 8 things, congratulations, you are going to be a very highly sought after police applicant, of course, barring that you aren't a psychotic person and you don't freeze up, in public places when you're having to do like interviews. So if you don't have those issues and you possess, either all or the majority of these characteristics that I feel make up an ideal police candidate, you are setting yourself up for extreme success, and it's going to be pretty smooth sailing. So, hey, that's it for this week. Before you hop on out of here, if you liked the video, then like the video. Subscribe, leave a comment, share. It helps out the channel. Look, we're trying to hit 1,000 subscribers. That's our first little mini goal, and you guys help us get there. Also, before you slide out, check the links down below. We have a ton of resources and books. Again, you can tell from one of my previous videos. Look, all the money from that goes back to the channel, allows us to get the channel out there so we can continue to grow, continue to get views, continue to get subscribers. So I'm helping you guys. You guys can help us. Check the links down below. If you're an applicant, cadet, rookie, concerned citizen, we have training materials for just about anyone and everyone as it pertains to, law enforcement, becoming law enforcement, and excelling at your job, definitely in the early stages of your career. All right, that's Xavier. Well, I'm Xavier. That's not Xavier. I'm Xavier. CRC. As always, stay blessed. I'm out of here. I'll see you guys